Now we move on to the Gracie. Okay, it's a little bit crazy, so it's called Gracie. No, I'm joking. And the Gracie curate, we have 11-12 and 13-14. The difference between 11-12 and 13-14 is that the area where you will use these instruments for cleaning is a little bit different. So number 11-12, okay, you use it for the mesial of posterior teeth, and 13-14 you use it for the distal area of posterior teeth. Okay, for example, so if you go to the posterior teeth right here, okay, the way you figure it out which side is which is that if you insert the instrument right here, okay, same thing, you use the lower shank of the tooth of the instrument, okay, lower shank right here parallel to the long axis of the tooth. Okay, if the lower shank parallel to the long axis of the tooth, okay, instrument needs to face outside the patient's mouth. Or another way to figure it out is that if you look at the blade, okay, you look at the lower shank, okay, the blade right here, it's kind of slant like this. Okay, all right, it's kind of hard to see, you have to kind of look a little bit closer, but it's slant like this. Okay, so if the blade slant like this, okay, you use this part to clean the tooth. Okay, you won't use this part, right? Because this is like kind of like a slanting part. Okay, so if this part has to be used on the mesial, okay, so it has to insert right here so that it can be used on the mesial of the tooth. This is how you figure it out, which side switch. So if you use the other side right here, okay, this one, the blade slant like this. Okay, so the blade slant like this, you use this side to clean the tooth, right, which is this one, this side. So if you go right down here by using this side, you cannot use it on the mesial of the root. Okay, you have to use it on the distal, which is not correct, because 11-12 is not be, it can be used on the distal area. It has to be used on the mesial. Okay, and another thing to kind of figure out is that if you insert this instrument right here in the proximal space, okay, the lower shank kind of parallel to the tooth, you can see that the handle is facing towards the patient, inside the patient's mouth. So if you use the right instrument right here, lower shank parallel to the long axis of the tooth, okay, and use it in the mesial, okay, this instrument is gonna face like outside the patient's mouth. You see it different, right? The handle facing outside the patient's mouth versus the handle facing inside the patient's mouth, right? So if it's facing inside the patient's mouth, this is incorrect. Okay, use the other one. Lower shank parallel to long axis of the tooth, handle facing outside patient's mouth, and this is 11-12, so you use it on the mesial. Okay, so you can use it on the mesial of molar right here, mesial of the molar right here, mesial of the premolar, and mesial of premolar right here. You can also use this one towards the mesial buccal, okay, the mesial half of the buccal surface as well. So you can see that I insert instruments a little bit down below the gum line and clean the buccal surface on the mesial half of premolar right here, on the premolar right here, or the molar right here. Okay, if you want to use the distal half, okay, you have to change instruments for the Gracie. It's crazy, so you need to change the instrument to 13-14. So same thing, lower shank, okay, parallel to a long axis of the tooth, okay, and then handle facing outside the patient's mouth. This is the correct one. So if you use this side, it won't be correct because the handle facing the inside the patient's mouth while the lower shank parallel to the long axis. This is incorrect. Okay, so use this one, which is correct. End of instrument insert to the in proximal area, lower shank parallel to the long axis, and handle facing outside the patient's mouth. And this Gracie curate is 13-14. You use it on the distal half, okay, to clean the distal area of the posterior teeth, okay? Or you can clean the distal buccal half as well by insert instrument a little bit down below the gum lines right here, okay? Insert instrument a little bit below the gum line right here and curve toward the tooth and clean. Insert instrument below the gum line, clean right here. And also you can clean the distal end of this molar as well, okay? And if you want to clean like on the palatal side, remember whenever you move to the other side, you need to change the end of the instrument. For example, this one is good for the distal part, okay, of quadrant 1, okay? So if you want to do the lingual, okay, you have to change the other end, okay, and then use it towards the lingual right here. You use it only for the distal half, okay, for the distal part, for the 13, 14. Remember, if this end is good for the buccal, okay, it will be good for the palatal of quadrant 2, okay? I use it for the buccal of quadrant 1, so it's good for the palatal of quadrant 2. It will be good for the buccal of quadrant 3, and it will be good for the lingual of quadrant 4, okay? This is for cleaning the distal part, okay, of the distal surface, okay, of the posterior teeth. If you want to do the mesial surface, okay, you use 11, 12, okay, which is like this side, you see, it's wrong because the lower shank parallel to long axis, but the handle is facing into the patient's mouth. So use the other side, which is right here. Lower shank parallel to long axis, this one facing outside patient's mouth, okay. Use it right here to clean mesial part of the posterior teeth on the quadrant 1, okay, on the buccal. You can also use this one to clean the mesial on the lingual of quadrant 2, or the mesial of the buccal of quadrant 3, or the mesial of the lingual of quadrant 4. So if you want to use, and let's start to the beginning again. So we are at the quadrant 1 on the buccal, okay? You use like this 11, 12 to clean on the mesial, okay, of the premolar and molar. So if you want to do the mesial on the lingual of this same quadrant, okay, you have to change the instrument to the other side and use it to clean mesial of the lingual of the quadrant 1, and you use it the same end also can be applied to the mesial of quadrant 2 on the buccal, okay, or lingual of quadrant 3, okay, which is on the mesial as well because it's 11, 12, okay, or buccal of quadrant 4, okay, and use it on the mesial because it's 11, 12. All right, I know it's a little bit overwhelming, but just remember, if you are if you're confused with any part, okay, just like kind of rewind the video and kind of watch it like, you know, 2-3 times. I think you're gonna feel better about like using these instruments. But if you want to practice more, you can also like ask me, send me email. You can like kind of send me like a kind of an email and then say, okay, I would like to practice more to use these instruments. We can set up kind of in-person meeting as well, and then we can go through these instruments like as a kind of a small group with you guys as well if you want. Or you can also practice this like when you go to the clinic, and then you can practice, you know, with your friend, or like if you have any question in the clinic, you can also ask instructor in the clinic as well to teach you how to use the instruments correctly. Thank you very much for your attention today.